Join us on another adventure with Wild and Free
Interior Alaska.
You've seen our kitchen now, so let's watch the transformation from these cabinets to this in our off-grid cabin. To save myself some time, and since my investment wasn't a whole lot, I sprayed these cabinets with Easy Off oven cleaner, let it sit for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes was up, I sprayed it down with a hose, scrubbed it with a brush, and then did any fine-tune sanding that I needed to do before I was able to begin painting them. So it looks like it really worked on this surface. Some of that surface. This one I let sit for a long time. So we're gonna see what this looks like when I scrub it. So while it's still warm out, I'm trying to work hard at getting these done. So I've done the first coat of primer on these cabinets. It was fall when I was doing this, so it was windy and the leaves kept falling on it, so that was fun. Okay, so I wasn't sure if I would like this color, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. I was thinking roll the paint on with a paintbrush or a roller, but I decided for ease of time and budget that I would just use spray paint. So I am using this Krylon Matte Pale Sage. Of course my options were limited, but I think I like the way that it's going to turn out with a few coats. And then I'm using this to kind of help control the spray. It's not so bad. My youngest son was excited to help me with these, so I let him help paint the first coat. So obviously painting outside in an open barn isn't exactly ideal because things will blow onto them, but the first coat is done on all of the cabinets for the cabin, and after all, it's just a cabin. Obviously this still has some work to go. First coat on, but I ran out of paint and underestimated that process. When you're trying to finish your project and you need paint and it's empty, there's none on the shelf. So you read every single box and then finally find it. I will get you, paint. I will get you. Guess what I got? And no, nobody came to help me, so I monkeyed up there. I had to do a one-handed pull-up, swing myself up with the other arm, move one box, grab the other box, and lower myself back down. But guess what? I got it. After I got the paint, I was able to apply the second coat and let it dry, and it really started to look so much better. In the color I just fell in love with, and I set it up as a sneak peek of exactly what I envisioned at our cabin. Now let's see how I refinished this table that I found outside that was in a dog mushing yard. So I did the same exact thing. I applied the oven cleaner, I let it sit, I sprayed it off, I washed it and let it dry, and it looked beautiful. The chairs were absolutely destroyed, so I applied exactly the same method to them, and they look so much better stripped down once the varnish was all off. So today I am working on painting this table that I picked up for free that had been outside and was rained on for a few years. So I've hosed it all down, I've scrubbed it. I also took off all of the original varnish, and I will restain that. I did that using the oven cleaner method, and I will try to talk about that a little bit more. I also worked on the chairs some, which had also been outside. As you can see, I need to do a second coat because it primarily took off all of the dirt on the first one, but it did make things a lot easier. So it's a work in progress, but today I'm going to prime the legs before I paint it. Before I get started priming it, I'm just going to say I don't care about the underside of the table. I'm never going to really see it, so I'm not going to tape it off. Alright, it's looking pretty good. This free table's getting a little makeover, and honestly, it's looking pretty good for just using some $6 spray paint. The chairs are taped and primed, and it's super windy because we have an ex-typhoon coming through, but I'm still making progress. They are gonna look so good. So the table legs have been painted. Now we're gonna stain the top. And the chairs are finished getting painted. They're drying. I'll look them over, do some touch up, and then we'll be staining the seats. So I'm gonna stain the first chair. As you'll notice, there's a lighter section of wood on it. So obviously when I stain it, it's gonna look lighter, kind of like this. There's all these lighter sections. It's really not bad. Kind of gives it a rustic appeal. The natural scratches come out that you couldn't see when it was stripped and lightly sanded. But it's not bad. So I'm staining the chair. I get really intense with it. Just kidding. I just use a paper towel. And I don't apply and wipe off. I literally just cover the surface and just make sure that it's not super thick. And just like that, we're staining these chairs. So I applied the stain, which was special walnut. It is still drying. All these gray appearances is actually like the reflection of all of the darker streaks in the wood. And once it dries, we'll see what it looks like, and then I will apply the top coat to seal it. And there you have it. All done. Here's a little look at the table in progress and the side-by-side to the finished look, as well as the chairs. This was what they look like throughout the progress. And this free set of table and chairs turned out way better than I could have ever imagined, and I'm super happy with them and how they look in our cabin. Let's take a look. Another project done and beautiful in our off-grid cabin.
Thanks for joining us.
Give us a like and subscribe and follow for our next adventures on Wild and Free.
Interior Alaska.